Before the world wakes up, a silent ritual unfolds, one that has been practiced for centuries and still holds the power to transform everything. What if the secret to strength, clarity, and unshakable focus wasn't found in self-help books, hustle culture, or endless productivity hacks, but in the quiet, deliberate routines of ancient warriors and philosophers? There's a reason why history's most powerful minds, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, began their days not with noise, but with intention. They understood something we've forgotten. How you begin your morning isn't just about productivity, it's about identity. Buried in ancient wisdom lies a morning discipline so focused, so internally aligned, that it doesn't just reshape your day, it reshapes who you are. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at mornings or yourself the same way again. Right now, you may wake up exhausted, scattered, reactive, your energy spent before the day even begins. But there is another way, a path of clarity, calm, and control. A ritual not of routine, but of resistance, against chaos, against weakness, against the modern world's pull. This is the Stoic morning, a ritual of steel for the soul. And if you have the discipline to adopt it, you won't just rise early, you'll rise different. Let's begin. The ancient Stoics began their day in the quiet hours, before the world stirred, before the noise, before the obligations, before the chaos. There was silence. And in that silence, they found something invaluable: space to think, to feel, to prepare. For Marcus Aurelius and his fellow Stoics, the early morning was sacred, not because of some modern obsession with productivity, but because it was the only time untouched by distraction. The hour before dawn held a kind of purity. When the mind was clear, the body rested, and the spirit unburdened. They didn't wake early to check emails, start work, or chase efficiency. They woke early to check in with themselves, to reflect on what kind of person they wanted to be that day, to practice gratitude, to anticipate challenges, and to prepare, not with anxiety, but with calm acceptance. In that stillness, they built inner strength. This is not about waking up at 5 a.m. because a podcast said it makes you successful. It's about reclaiming the one part of the day that belongs to you, uninterrupted. It's about meeting yourself first, before the demands of others rush in. Imagine starting your day not with stress or speed, but with silence and intention. You journal, you reflect, you breathe. And in those quiet moments, you are reminded of who you are and who you are choosing to be. You do not just rise early to get more done. You rise early to meet yourself before the world does. The ancient Stoics believed that the way you begin your day shapes everything that follows. Before engaging with the chaos of the world, they turned inward to train the mind, sharpen their values, and prepare their spirit for the inevitable tests of life. Every morning, Marcus Aurelius, one of history's most powerful men, wrote in his journal. He wasn't chronicling events or listing tasks. He was mentally preparing himself for the day's challenges. He asked, "What kind of man will I be today? What temptations or frustrations might I face? How will I respond? With reason or with emotion?" This was not idle reflection. It was mental armor, a daily rehearsal for resilience. Key practices included writing down intentions, visualizing adversity before it happens, and grounding oneself in core Stoic values: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. By anticipating hardships and reminding themselves of who they wanted to be, the Stoics built a psychological buffer. They didn't wait for the storm to hit. They braced for it with quiet strength. Modern life throws its own version of trials: emails, arguments, temptations, traffic, deadlines, and emotional triggers. By starting your day like a Stoic, You prepare not to dominate the day, but to dominate yourself within the day. Before diving into work, distractions, or news, take 5 to 10 minutes to reflect. Write down your intentions. Ask yourself, what is likely to test me today? Will I meet it with clarity, or will I be swept away by emotion? Remind yourself that everything outside your control is neutral. It's your reaction that defines your character. To the Stoics, the body was not separate from the soul. It was its vessel, its proving ground. The early morning was not just a time for thinking. It was a time for anchoring. Cold water, still posture, controlled breath. These weren't acts of cruelty or asceticism. They were deliberate practices to forge a connection between physical control and mental clarity. Marcus Aurelius spoke often of training the self to act in accordance with nature and reason, even when it's unpleasant. Seneca took cold baths in the middle of winter, not because he enjoyed suffering, but because he knew that minor discomforts in the morning built spiritual armor for the rest of the day. The Stoics didn't run from difficulty. They walked directly into it in small, intentional ways. A cold wash, a few moments standing barefoot in silence, a brief fast, steady breath control. All of these were invitations to practice self-command. In doing so, they reminded themselves, I am not here to be ruled by my body's cravings. I am here to master myself. This wasn't about punishing the body. It was about strengthening the bridge between physical and mental discipline. When you teach your body to obey, you strengthen your capacity to lead your life with clarity. Start your morning with something difficult, intentional, and silent. Take a cold shower. Sit still for 10 minutes without checking your phone. Breathe deeply and slowly. These are not acts of self-denial. They are acts of self-mastery. You are not avoiding comfort. You are choosing command. In a world that constantly tells you to make mornings easy, soft, and pleasurable, this path may feel counterintuitive, but ancient wisdom knew what modern luxury often forgets. Your comfort zone is rarely your growth zone. The modern world tells you to feel good in the morning. The ancients taught you to become good in the morning. There's a deep difference. One chases comfort. The other cultivates strength. Begin your day with a practice that reminds your body who is in charge. It doesn't need to be extreme. It just needs to be intentional. Because when the body falls in line, the mind becomes free to lead. You wake before the sun, not to rush, not to scroll, but to remember who you are. Before the world begins demanding, distracting, and overwhelming, you sit, you breathe, you return to yourself. You do not armor your body, you armor your soul. While others are still asleep, you've already met the day in silence. You've rehearsed the discomforts. You've faced your mind's chaos. You've walked through fire while sitting in stillness. Cold water, steady breath, a journal that holds your doubts and clears your vision. This is not a hack. It is a ceremony, a daily rite, a quiet war fought before the noise begins. There is no applause, no audience. But inside, something hardens, something steadies. When the storm of the day arrives, because it always does, you don't flinch. You've seen it already. You've practiced it. You've prepared not just your plans, but your posture. This is the ancient way. Not flashy, though not easy, but real. You do not do it to feel productive. You do it to become unbreakable. Because life will test you. And when it does, it won't care about your morning playlist or your mood. It will care about your readiness. So you rise early. You sit in silence. You do hard things. You become stormproof before the storm ever comes. This morning ritual isn't soft. It's not trendy. It's not meant to impress. It's meant to transform. In a world that shouts, scrolls, and sprints from the moment it wakes, This routine is your rebellion. Your stillness becomes your strength. Your discipline becomes your defense. And every morning, before anything else, you win your first battle. You don't chase the day. You shape it. Ask yourself, are you starting your day like a servant to chaos or like a master of yourself? You don't need to overhaul your life. Just 1 week. Wake before the world. Sit in silence. Face something hard. Train your mind before the world tries to twist it. Try it. And when you do, watch how your focus sharpens. Watch how your calm becomes contagious. Then come back, comment, share your experience. And if this shifted something inside you, pass it on. Share this with someone who needs to stop waking up lost and start waking up ready. Discipline is not punishment, it is protection. And it starts the moment you open your eyes.